While Rabbi Cantor is on vacation, this is for Rabbi Pector. They called for the lefty today, so.
They didn't get it.
It's okay. They will later. Shabbat Shalom. This week we read Parshat Shalach, one of the most poignant and perhaps most painful moments in the entire Torah. The people of Israel stand at the very edge of destiny, right on the brink of entering the Promised Land. But at the critical moment, they falter. They hesitate. They get cold feet, really cold feet. As Rabbi Cantor put it in a sermon just a few weeks ago, the kind of cold feet that makes you say, let's go back to Egypt, they have cucumbers. Moses sends 12 scouts, anashim, leaders, each one described as a distinguished individual, a nasi, as this parsha refers to them. This was no amateur expedition. If LinkedIn existed in the wilderness, these scouts would have had endorsements from Moses himself. But when they return, 10 out of 12 bring back a report filled with dread. The land devours its inhabitants. We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we appear to them. And just like that, hope gives way to fear, vision gives way to panic. A generation with so much potential is suddenly on a 40-year detour, a spiritual recalculating route, if you will. But Shalach is not just a story of failure. It's a mirror held up to our community, our choices, our future. It's a reminder that we see the world, the way we see the world shapes the way we live in it. This parsha invites us to ask, do we look at it through the lens of fear or the lens of faith? Which brings us to today. Not in the wilderness, although if you've ever circled a parking lot on Yom Kippur around 10:30, you may feel otherwise. But today, we pause to celebrate something incredible. 33 years of B'nai Moshe right here in West Bloomfield, the longest we've been in any building, in any location. Yes, on June 23rd, 1992, we opened the doors of this sacred building. We carried with us a legacy that began in Detroit, took root in Oak Park, and found new life here. What we brought was far more than bricks and mortar. We brought heart and soul, tradition and courage, and of course, a substantial collection of stackable brown chairs. What a remarkable coincidence that this anniversary falls during Parshat Shalach, a Torah portion that challenges us to ask, what kind of community do we want to be? How do we view the road ahead? And we, like the 10 spies who only saw obstacles, or are we like the 10 spies who only saw obstacles, or are we like Caleb and Joshua, who stood firm and said, we can do this, because they believed? The truth is, 33 years ago, no one knew what the future would hold. There were risks, there were skeptics. There were probably a few folks in Oak Park saying, West Bloomfield, that's practically the wilderness. But there was also hope. There was vision. There was faith. There was a belief that this congregation could continue to grow, to teach, to inspire, that Jewish life here could not only survive, but thrive. That our voices would sing, our children would flourish, and yes, the coffee in Bods and Hall would be strong, hot, and always in abundant supply. And look what we've built. Not just a building, but a home, a family, a Kehila Kadosha, a sacred community, one that celebrates together and mourns together, that prays, learns, volunteers, shows up, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard, and sometimes even when it's snowing sideways. This moment is rooted in a much longer story. On September 2nd, 1911, 9 men, not even a minyan, gathered to form Congregation Beth Eliyahu, which 6 years later would become Congregation B'nai Moshe. Aaron Hollander was elected the first president, and since then, 60 men and women have taken on that sacred mantle of leadership. Each brought something different. Some brought spreadsheets, others brought ideas, and still others brought needlepoint, but all left an impact. And it was no small coincidence that you notice a lot of the honors today, a lot of the aliyot, a lot of the archons were given to our president or past presidents, and we wouldn't be here today without each and every one of them. What made Caleb and Joshua different from the other spies? It wasn't what they saw, it was how they saw. The land didn't change, the obstacles didn't disappear, but they saw through the lens of possibility, promise, and purpose. And that, too, is a story of B'nai Moshe. It's a story of our 114 years as a congregation and our 33 years in this building. And it will be the story of our next chapter. Because, yes, we face challenges, shifting demographics, evolving interests, and, of course, the eternal debate over whether kugel should be sweet or savory. But as our beloved former president, Michael Grand, Zichrono Livracha, once said during the move to this building, we walked the land, we dreamed the dream. And that dream continues today. Now for a little fun for some of us numbers or gematria nerds. The number 33 is Lamed and Gimel, the same as in Lag BaOmer, a day of joy, of light, of bonfires. And if you flip the letters, Gal, it means a wave, of movement and energy, and that's what we are. We are a wave of spirit, of tradition, of purpose, sometimes riding high and sometimes slow and steady, but always, always moving forward. So today we celebrate, not just what has been, but what will be. Let us continue to look at B'nai Moshe not only as it is, but as it can become. Let us be inspired not just by history, but by possibility. We may have the courage of Caleb, the vision of Joshua, and the perseverance of Mike Leibowitz, who showed up early 6 days a week every morning for nearly 2 decades, in rain, snow, sleet, or sunshine. May we lift our eyes, open our hearts, and step confidently together into the next 33 years, even if we occasionally need to rest on the bench in the vestibule. So, to everybody, Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov on 33 extraordinary, heart-filled, coffee-fueled years of B'nai Moshe in West Bloomfield. Shabbat Shalom.